final time.
Miles an hour!
On the Piste tonight, the Brits who ditched their skis to learn snowboarding. But are they too old?
There were about, 50 people wanted to board. And we were feeling really old. And he said, if you're younger than 12, you go in this group. And that's half the people.
We go to Europe's highest ski resort to find a little piece of England. And how ski instructors relax on their day off.
It's good to have one good run at the end of the day to get the muscle going.
A sudden blizzard in Maribel, a mile high in the French Alps. It's something every skier dreams of. Fresh, deep snow. But by dawn the next day, there's a metre of it in the mountains, and that means avalanche danger. Controlled explosions dislodge the new snow before skiers are on the slopes. Pisteur Marc Tessier is preparing dynamite charges. He's one of 300 ski patrollers employed by the Three Valleys Resort to keep the mountains safe for skiers. His colleague, American Eric Alexander, winches the dynamite out over the slopes where avalanches are most likely.
The explosion is a little bit above the snow and it sends out a shock. If it's in the snow, it absorbs a lot of the energy, but if it's just slightly above in the air, a lot more energy is sent out into the snow.
All over the mountain, the process is repeated before the slopes can be opened to skiers.
What we're doing here is we've got a charge tied to a cord. This way we can jet the bomb, it lands in the couloir, and we can pull it up onto the surface just a little bit, and that way we get more of a dynamic explosion with more of an effect. Also, if it's a dud, we can pull it back easier. You've definitely got to be careful. It's not a job where you want to take chances. If you're not paying attention and if you're not doing things the right way, it can be a very dangerous job, but if you take all the right precautions, it's not all that dangerous. If there's been a lot of snow, we do the avalanche control like today. If there's not been too much snow, we check each piece that's been groomed, each run.
You see, here is a big hole.
Put the bamboo back up that the snowcats have knocked over. Just get everything ready and safe for the public. After that's done, we wait for accidents to happen.
Yay!
Well, I'm Stephen and this is Lucy, my wife.
Max, being noisy.
Max and Rachel. We're out here for a week. This is first day. I've skied 14 years out of the last 18 and noticed an increasing number of snowboarders out there. This year I think we thought, well, by the time Max is skiing, he'll be boarding. We better be able to keep up with him, so we better get out there and get a head start.
While Nanny Rachel looks after baby Max, Stephen and Lucy Allen start their snowboarding lessons. Some say the sport will soon be more popular than skiing, but at the moment it's mainly for the young and desperately trendy. Stephen is 38, Lucy 28. The couple fear they may be over the hill.
There were about, 50 people wanted to board. And we were feeling really old, and he said, if you're younger than 12, you go in this group, and that's half the people, younger than 12. And if you're older than 12, you come in our group. So it just shows you the age. I think Stephen's the oldest. I'm not sure. I think for the youngsters it's the street cred, definitely. I think for people our age, it's the fact that our children will be doing it.
Clinging to your
That's quite
youth.
a big factor. And for him clinging to his youth.
No, relax, relax, relax. Don't hold me. Easy, dude. Easy. Easy.
Stephen thinks Lucy, 10 years younger than him, may have the edge.
Lucy is a lot fitter than I am, and she has a track record of lots of sports and things. And I have a track record of armchairs and beer.
Most people still come to Maribel to ski. Eric Gironnet, 34, is the boss of Magic in Motion Ski School. For 9 years he's been teaching absolute beginners how to get to grips with the basics. Today is Eric's day off, and he's planned something a little different. Eric is going heli skiing with his team of instructors. They fly to the top of a remote glacier, 2.5 miles high in the middle of an icy wilderness, accessible only from the air. But then comes the tricky bit. Incredibly, the team will ski down. It takes a series of relays to get the team to the top.
We are about 3,800 meters. I've never been fed up with heli skiing yet. I think I can do that all my life. The feeling of freedom, often it's virgin snow, so no tracks. For the people who like powder, and for the atmosphere of being lonely in the mountain. There is always risk. You have to be always careful.
When everyone is gathered over 10,000 feet up, it's time to go over the edge. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Good to have one good run at the end of the day to get the muscle going.
How do you feel when you ski?
Free, free and mad.
Woo! How many times have you been injured?
I had done 4 legs. 4 times I broke my legs when I was 8, 10, 16 and 19. And then I broke my face when I was 20, jumping over a cliff.
Accidents are all too common. Holidaymakers who've paid for a week skiing often brave the mountains regardless of conditions. Slopes prepared, pisteurs Eric and Mark wait for the inevitable to happen. They seldom wait long. A French skier has hurt her knee and cannot move. Mark skis down to the rescue with a blood wagon, a mobile first aid unit and stretcher. The woman is one of hundreds of skiers injured in the Three Valleys every season.
Voilà, vous pouvez m'aider un peu, retirer un peu en arrière, vous le remontez légèrement, ramenez les jambes, encore un peu. Voilà, allez. C'est bon. Voilà.
Does it hurt a lot? Is it serious or it's okay?
It's a ligament, what we call a déchirure. It's not break, but
Torn ligament.
yeah.
It's Mark's job to give the woman emergency first
Comme
aid.
Jésus-Christ, like that. Perfect.
Ouais, pas français, hein.
On a la tête basse, hein.
Non mais c'est bon.
Les ligaments, c'est comme c'est pire que la fracture. Ok. Ça, c'est pour les renvois de neige. C'est bon. Merci.
Then he skis down the mountain, taking the unlucky victim with him. She later received treatment for her torn ligaments. Struggling snowboarders Lucy and Stephen have now been split up, and there's a surprise.
Okay, we've started our second lesson today, and we all started together as one group, and they were trying to see who could turn both ways, front side and back side. And those that could turn both ways have gone into a different group, which is most of the boys and the men, and we're the ones that can only turn one way. So he's moved up to the big boys group.
Thanks for that.
I got told off by him for making it into a competition. So I think we'll drop that one now.
It's a case really of pushing yourself a little bit more each time and going beyond the comfort zone. And it's certainly very easy to get very uncomfortable very quickly.
I met Stephen when I was 19, started working for his company after I left college as a marketing assistant, and he runs a mail order business, and I think we were 3 people in the company then. Now we're about 140, and he was my boss for about 5 years before we started going out together. And we got married in 1993, and we had a nice small wedding. Stephen's been married before. He was married for about 18 months. And we had Max last year in June. I'd quite like to have 4 children. He wanted 2, so we've settled at 3. So I think 3 is a nice number. I'm one of 3. So I think we'll have 3. 3 little snowboarders.
But there are other things to negotiate first, like getting off the chairlift. Stephen is right behind. After the break, Eric tackles Maribel's most dangerous ski run, in the dark. And will Stephen and Lucy go the distance?
Try again.
I've got a huge bruise, which I'm not going to show you, on my thigh here. I don't even know how I got that.
Nicole.
To help protect you from sunburn and skin aging and give you an irresistibly attractive tan. Pisbuin. Don't wear anything else.
For healthy looking hair, try the Pantene system. Shampoo, large conditioner and intensive treatment. Recommended by Elite Model Look.
Now at HMV, get an amazing 3 CDs for an unbelievable £22. From over 1,000 top albums of our time. Get 3 of the best for a limited period only. Get 3 CDs for £22 at HMV. Top dog for music.
Salvatore, cosa sarei io senza i tuoi occhi che guardano i miei diritti? Luca, dove sarei senza le tue orecchie che ascoltano tutto per me?
Kumba, devo andare. Ma perché? Ho fatto il suo pantalone.
He who drinks Australian thinks Australian.
The Justin Fashanu story.
Football can deal with drunks and wife beaters, but it is not comfortable with overt homosexuals.
Shot down in flames Friday, 8:30.
High up in the next valley along from Maribel lies Val Thorens, the highest resort in Europe. It's more international than Maribel, but even here there's a little corner of England. The Frog and Roast Beef has 2 big attractions. 1, it's the highest pub in Europe, and 2, it's British. It's owned and run by Chris McGregor.
It tends to be a little bit of Englishness in the resort. You've got the news in English every morning on the TVs. You've got the Times, the Telegraph and the Mail newspaper. We do full English breakfast, Branston pickle and Sarson's vinegar and fish and chips. All the British tour operators tend to come here, and if anybody wants to contact anybody British in the resort, they just leave messages here and we pass them on.
It was the skiing that brought Chris and his wife Fiona to the Alps 3 years ago. Until then, he was managing director of one of the biggest menswear companies in Britain.
It was something I wanted to do, and I found that I was able to do it. So I took the risk. There's a phrase that applies to what's called ski bums, which is for people who don't work, but it applies to us too. A ski bum is somebody who'd rather ski than work, so he takes a low-paid job in a ski resort to watch people with high-paid jobs skiing while he works. It's a bit like that.
Is there anything you miss from back home?
My family, friends, basically. And in a perfect world, I'd like them all to come out here, and then it would be perfect. I don't miss England so much. I miss the people. The worst is the bureaucracy in France, I think, because when you come to a new country, well, it's different language, but also there's all different laws that you don't know about. And we try to get as much information as we could before we came, but then the rest of it has been a very steep learning curve.
Back in Maribel, would-be snowboarders Lucy and Stephen are also on a steep learning curve.
Whoa! Spoke too soon.
Whoa! Ah! Damn! Ah.
But they're determined to persevere.
Try again.
I've got a huge bruise, which I'm not going to show you, on my thigh here. I don't even know how I got that. I think if I went skiing now, I'd enjoy it too much and I'd give this up. So we're not going anywhere near a pair of skis this week.
This is the tricky bit.
Most people like to enjoy themselves on holiday, but Stephen feels the sacrifice has been worthwhile.
Here ends the 3rd lesson. We were talking it over in the bar. We said, you know, you just got to accept this holiday isn't like the last few skiing holidays. This is just hard work.
At the end of the lesson, at least they can meet up and console each other.
Right. You're apparently at the top of that class. I'm at the bottom of the other class.
Well, I don't know about top, but I'm not at the bottom, so that feels good.
Yeah, I think we're probably about the same.
The next day, Stephen and Lucy abandoned their boards and went back to skiing. Back in Val Thorens, Chris McGregor is preparing for a busy night, an evening of true British culture.
Because I'm the only British bar in the resort, I have to very much cater to British clients. If there's a football match in the UK, I have to show the sport here on the TV screens, like we're having tonight. After the football, and also most nights each week, there'll be music playing, there'll be parties coming in, drinking and singing and all that sort of thing. As I say, it's a party every night. People are here on holiday, they're here to have a good time. And that's what après-ski is. It's people having a party.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon. Time for the holidaymakers to head down to the après ski bars. It's time for the last duty of the day for Piste Eric Alexander.
Right now we're closing the slopes. The lifts just shut down. The last people have just left. We lock the doors and we're heading down. What I have here is the jalons. We mark all the runs with these. When it's a foggy day like this, you follow these down to the bottom. So with all the snow we've had, we've lost a few, so it's time to put a few back. So as we kick the people off the mountain, we mark the slopes again. This time of day is always nice because there's no one around. It's quiet, peaceful. We're always looking around. Now that the clouds have lifted a little bit, you can actually see, and you look in all the nooks and crannies for someone that might be lost or stuck with their head in the snow like an ostrich, or just basically look for odd things, people you can help out, make sure no one's struggling. This is the last run of the day after we go to the 19th hole.
The holidaying skiers have left and the slopes are closed, but Eric and his instructors haven't yet finished their day off.
C'est bon.
Oh, man.
They may work on the mountain, but they play there too.
To change from the routine, to do different things together and have an adventure or doing something different in the mountain.
It's a wonderful opportunity to show off. But for some, the appeal is more spiritual.
What does it do for you when you stand here at the top of the mountain and there's no one else around? It's like an orgasm. Orgasm? It's an orgasm.
We are going down the couloir with torches, so it's a bit more dark, and the couloir is it's a bit of snow between rocks, actually. We can explain this like this. Very narrow and quite steep.
It's something few skiers in Maribel attempt even in daytime. But with the light fading, the instructors climb to the top of a rocky crag before waiting for the sun to sink. Then, with only burning torches to light their way, they plunge into the abyss.
Whoa!
Back in Val Thorens, the evening's entertainment is underway. It's happy hour, and a group of mature American tourists are making the most of it. Next door in the Dutch nightclub, things are slightly more rowdy. The Scandinavian bar is filling up nicely. And for the Brits in Chris McGregor's pub, the football's kicked off.
Stand up! If you ain't Tottenham, stand up! If you ain't Tottenham, stand up! Yeah!
The promise of live football has worked like a magnet on the Val Thorens Brits.
What you've got to do is earn enough money through the business to survive for 12 months, and you've only got 5 months of income. And the rest of the year, you've got 7 months of that going with no income at all. So yes, it's very hard work. It's a party every night, 7 nights a week, for 5 months. That's how it works.
All over town, the party continues. The Dutch, the Swedish, and the British. Dutch, Swedish, British. Up in the mountains, there are pisteurs still hard at work, preparing the slopes for the morning. They'll be up here not just tonight, but every night, until the season ends.
To drop. Open up the window and jump into the blue.
Well, alas and alack, that's our last look at the madness of Meribel. Next Wednesday at 8, hanky-soaking drama when Richard Chamberlain and Amanda Donohoe star in The Thornbirds, The Missing Years.
I'll push you off. Open up the window and jump into the blue.